So guys, this is actually a legitimate question. How do you guys who eat like breakfast, lunch, and dinner and like snacks, like the guys who eat like 3, 4, 5 meals a day, how do you guys get lean? Because I literally do not understand. I think I've gotten pretty lean, close to 10% body fat about 2 times, and each time I had to make sure that I was fasting. I've literally never gotten lean actually having multiple meals per day. It has to be condensed to at least 2 meals, 2 main meals, and like a snack, a small snack. How do you guys I'm envious of everybody or anybody who is able to just spread their meals throughout the day, just eat like 500 calorie meals multiple times a day and get lean. It's crazy to me. So yeah guys, if you've discovered some hunger and appetite suppression hack that makes you guys able to eat low calories and just like spread your meals across like that, man, because for me what works is I need to push the fast till about 2 p.m. 2 p.m. is the sweet spot. If I can push my first meal to 2 to 3 p.m. leanness is just it's almost effortless at that point. But if I'm breaking my fast like 10, 11, 12 a.m. it's tough, especially to keep the calories where they are supposed to be, around maybe 2200, 2300. For most guys, that's probably, if you don't want to be super aggressive, that's probably the sweet spot for fat loss. If you're of average size, average height, anywhere between maybe 180 pounds to 200 pounds. I am probably close to 200 pounds right now, I believe. The context here is that I was super obese at a certain point for most of my teenage years and my early 20s. I was pretty damn heavy. I was close to 260, 265 pounds at just 5'10". So I have a large appetite. I have a very large appetite. So that's just for context. There are certain guys who are just maybe 20, 30 pounds overweight, never really been obese, don't really have a crazy high appetite or anything like that. So for those people, just minor adjustment to their calories and just nothing rigid of a system is enough to get them lean. They can just reduce their calories, do like 4 or 5 meals a day at like 450 to 500 calories, and they'll just consistently get lean. And appetite is not really a problem. But for someone like me or anybody who has like a crazy high appetite, you have to be more meticulous about the system you adopt. Otherwise, you're just going to spin your wheels and run in circles forever. If you're able to push most of your calories to a certain point in the day where there's no friction, because most people, it's in the night time that they overdo it on calories. They go over their calories because willpower is typically low around that time. So if you know that you're like me, fasting, is something you should probably consider, or at least use it as like a weapon, like a tool in your toolbox that you can pull out when you're trying to really dig into some fat stores. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not going to eat till about 2 to 3 p.m. Then I'll break my fast with something very high protein, moderate carbs, moderate to high fat, just for satiety and all of that, going into my last meal for the day. And also, it's increasingly difficult the more advanced of a trainee you are. Cutting down and keeping strength while stripping off body fat, it's harder the more advanced you are, just because your body typically wants to pull you into different directions. If you are benching 315 for 5-6 reps and you are deciding to cut down and you're still trying to keep that level of performance, that is a Herculean task. That's tough, because that amount of a stimulus would incentivize you to eat. You would be hungry because you are sending anabolic signals, and now just at the same time trying to simultaneously be catabolic, because fat loss is a catabolic process. And so that's where things like lowering training volume can come in handy. You lower training volume, 2 top sets per exercise, 4 or 5 exercises per session max. That should keep your appetite at a moderate level. And also when you're pretty pushing reasonable amount of weight in the gym, you also need to use an RPE system. That's the rate of perceived exertion. So how hard are you pushing? I find that the stronger you get, the more important it is to pay attention to something like that. for the sake of recovery and fatigue management. If somebody is benching, let's say 225 is their 1 rep max, and somebody is benching 365 as their 1 rep max, they are not under the same amount of fatigue. So it's a very different thing altogether. So the person who is benching 365 has to pay much more attention. If your heart's not beating before a set, are you actually training hard? This should never get easy, bro. Never gets easy. All right, let's take the hundreds for a spin. Hey, what's up?
Maybe 100, right?
Yeah.